Senator Boozman.
Thank you all for being here very, very much. This is so important. I just want to follow up. As chair of the Ag Committee, the Food for Peace is being pushed over to the Department of Agriculture now. And they have teamed up with the World Food Program to purchase 211,000 metric tons of commodities from U.S. farmers. This will be sent to 7 countries, including Haiti. And Senator Schatz really asked the question I was going to ask about food insecurity, you know, how that plays out, and then also its relationship to gangs. You know, if you're hungry, if you can't take care of your family, everything else is pretty unimportant. And then bad people step in to give you somewhat hope. This is going to be done through the World Food Program, teaming up with them. So can you add anything else to that regards to, you know, again, it's so difficult without security to make that happen, which, you know, is the #1 priority to.
Thank you, Senator Boozman, for that question. With respect to the World Food Program, I think a frequent oversight when looking at Haiti at 2 levels. Number one, that there are many Haitian capabilities in place that are not brought within the purview nor utilized. What exists today with the organization, so we've formed a coalition, and appropriate framing would be a public-private partnership model that I'm proposing to you today with these humanitarian corridors, brings actors who have been working and privately funded throughout the last 7 years. An example of that would be Mission of Hope, who's feeding 130,000 children every single day right now, and has expanded and added 30,000 to that. And that's through 630 program centers across the country of Haiti,
right,
in the middle of these circumstances. Additional groups like Food for the Poor, Samaritan's Purse, Feed My Starving Children have outstanding reputations globally for their work. And we're representing that coalition. I'm representing that coalition here today with a public-private partnership model that, frankly, can be far more cost-effective in its response and its capability because it has far deeper cultural understanding of Haiti. It's far more adaptable, and it should absolutely be held accountable to defined outcomes. And I will willingly submit to any and all oversight and reporting standards that this committee were to request. But I believe that there's a model, sir, that's far more effective than we've currently been using, and I think we have the opportunity to deploy that and to scale it. It's already working. I'm not asking to create anything that doesn't exist already. I'm inviting y'all to expand it.
Yeah. Well, I assume World Food Program will work through some of those organizations, and one of the mandates is to reduce these countries' long-term reliance on international assistance. So provide food, but also again working through the organizations that you talked about, who do a tremendous job with so little resources.
Yes, thank you, Senator. You know, another example of that we'd like to work on with you is, and we saw more than 40% of the meals that were in that distribution network of 100,000 in 2019 were procured and packaged in country. They were on a path to sustainability. Haitians would prefer to grow their own stuff, and this is a great opportunity to build domestic food security that's in the interest of the U.S. as well as Haiti. And so I just don't want to see us move backwards on that more than we already have. And I want to make sure that this committee is aware of those mechanisms because they can be used now. Very
good. I just want to echo Senator Mullen's concern about the peacekeeping force. In the past, we give money to these countries and they pocket a bunch of it and give a little bit to the soldiers that are there, and they wind up foraging for themselves, to make it. And whatever we do, we need to make sure that those people are behave, and adequately resourced. And I don't know how you do that through a committee, but we do have to. That is imperative. The last thing we want to do is be part of a group, and this has happened so many times, where essentially the peacekeeping force is preying on the population. And that's something that's really important. So can you talk a little bit, can you expound on the committee, how they're going to do that?
Yes, gladly, Senator. Thanks for that question. Fundamentally through 2 mechanisms. So pathways are screening and pathways are vetting. On the screening, sense in terms of the forces who are coming to be part of the GSF, or those that we are bringing together. We have self-screening. That's required in accordance with, mind you, another important thing to note here is, I need to step back a second. This is not a peacekeeping operation. Just important to note that doctrinal difference, certainly when we talk about any of these forces, and particularly in the UN context. We have self-screening that these countries must perform before they can declare that their troops are ready to deploy. And they have to follow, although this is not a PKO standard for pre-deployment training, PDT. Additionally, when they arrive in country, they're going to go through a 2+ week induction. This is just a bloated word that simply says they'll spend 2 weeks once they hit the ground getting refresher training, reviewing all the things, all the standards they had to meet before they deployed. The idea here is this is real. Vetting. We will conduct human rights due diligence. That is conducted by UN standards. That applies to organizations. Say a battalion from a given country is deploying and it had been noted to have been involved in one or another atrocity or gross violation of human rights, it cannot deploy. And then you have US Leahy vetting. Everybody in this conversation is familiar with it, but this takes us away from units and down to individuals. And provided the United States government has any record whatsoever, classified or unclassified, about a person and their participation or an allegation of their participation in an activity like this. So again, 2 pathways, vetting and screening.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator